do a pinned post? How did he do it? How do I create a highlight? What's a create a highlight? No. Nope, that's a poll. Oh, no. Royalty free music. Nope. Royalty free music. Okay. Give people a second to show up. How do I do a pinned post? Good morning, good morning, good morning. I don't know how he does a pinned post. Retouch, highlight video. I don't know. Maybe I can't do it on my phone. Maybe that's why. All right. Good morning, good morning. Welcome in, welcome in, welcome in. Hope you got your coffee fees. Happy Saturday. Hello, hello. How are you? My neighbors are awake. I'm good, thank you. Hello, hello. All right, so we're going to be starting off at chapter 2 of the Let Them theory. Getting started. Let them and let me. Not too long after I discovered the Let Them theory, I was sitting on my couch scrolling through social media when I saw a photo of an old friend of mine. She looked fantastic. I glanced down to read the caption, where she was describing an amazing weekend she had just had with her friends, and I could tell she meant it. As I stared at the photo, I admired how tan, happy, relaxed, and refreshed she looked. Oh, my tongue is not working this morning. And I found myself thinking, wow, I could really use a weekend like that. Hell, you'd just use a spray tan. I started swiping through the carousel of photos and then realized I was seeing photo after photo that showed an epic girls' weekend away. Brunch, dancing, shopping, laughter, swimming, cocktails. If you guys don't mind hitting that like button. What is this weird ass haircut? I don't know. Go get some friends? Why do I need friends? Who says I don't have friends? I'm guessing you don't have very many friends if you're online telling other people what to do with their lives. How about you worry about your own life? Then I took my thumb and my pointer finger and pinched so that I could zoom in for a closer look at the group shot, only to realize that I knew that every single one of the women smiling back at me on my screen. My heart sank. My friends had all gone away together. You know that awful feeling in your stomach, the one that hits you when you realize that you've been left out? Marcus, are you feeling left out, honey? It's okay. It's like a punch. You try to just brush it off, telling yourself it's not a big deal. But the hurt, it's real. I should have put my phone down, but I didn't. I looked through those photos one by one, seeing a girls' trip through the eyes of the very same women who I had raised my kids with in our small suburban town. I tried not to let it bother me, but it did. My mind started filling in all the details. I imagined how much fun they were having and how close they had become. I'd known these women for years. We bonded over barbecues, carpools, soccer games, date nights with our spouses, and hard conversations about parenthood. So naturally, I started to spiral. I'm talking full stalker mode. I sat there on that same spot on the couch and felt it meld to my back as I pored over each and every one of their accounts. 5 minutes before, I had been perfectly fine. But now? Well, now I found myself feeling the familiar swirl of emotions take over. Rejection, insecurity, confusion. When did they plan this? Why wasn't I included? Why am I never invited anywhere? When was the last time I went away with friends? As I kept on scrolling through their photos, turning those questions over and over in my head, Chris walked into the room, took one look at me and said, "What's wrong?" I sighed and told him the truth. I just found out a bunch of my girlfriends went away for the weekend on a really fun trip, and I obviously wasn't invited. "Well, that sucks," he said. "Maybe I did something wrong," I said. "Maybe they're mad at me." He crossed his arms and asked me, "Why do you care so much?" I looked at him. "It's not like you're close friends with them anymore, Mel." He was right. I knew he was. But I still felt this urge to reach out and smooth things over. This book right here, The Let Them Theory by Mel Robbins. I knew he was, but I still felt this urge to reach out and smooth things over. I'm sure you've experienced this before. You find out that you weren't included in something, and all you want is some kind of reassurance that there wasn't something you had done wrong. Because honestly, I didn't know. And if you're anything like me, when it happens, you immediately assume that you have done something wrong. And as I sat there on the couch, racking my brain for evidence as to why I wasn't included, I couldn't think of anything, and that made me even more nervous. I mean, sure, we had known each other for years. We'd gone through early motherhood together. We had lived a lot of life together, and I really liked everyone who was on that trip. But at the same time, I hadn't really spent time with them as a group in a long, long time. I had seen them around town at large gatherings, but I hadn't invested in those individual friendships. And I hadn't planned anything fun or reached out to them recently either. Intellectually, I knew this, but emotionally, I was devastated. I felt like I was back. I felt like I was back in middle school again, the one left out of the sleepover, the one who didn't make the team, or who wasn't part of the inside joke. Putting the theory into practice. I felt myself wanting to reach out to them and fix it. Call, text, anything to make the anxiety go away. And that's when those two words came in and saved me from myself. Let them. The old me would have obsessed over this for days, for weeks really. My emotions would have gotten the best of me. I would have tried to pretend that it didn't bother me. I would have tried to convince myself that I didn't care. I would have tried to rationalize it over and over in my mind. I would have turned my friends into villains to make me feel better, all of which would have made me feel worse, withdraw even more from these women who I genuinely liked. But that didn't happen. It bothered me for about 10 minutes. And as soon as I said, "let them," I felt a little better. The second time I said it, I felt a little better. The third, fourth, 16th time, 13th time I said it, I felt a little better. I will be honest with you. In these types of painful situations, you are going to have to keep saying let them over and over, because when something hurts, the hurt doesn't just disappear. It rises up again and again. So don't be surprised when you find yourself having to repeat let them again and again. Let them go on the trip. Let them take the weekend together. Let them have their fun without you. At first, those words felt like a rejection, like I was giving in. But then I realized something important. Let them wasn't about giving in. It was about releasing myself from the control I never had in the first place. Because here's the truth: no matter how much I tried to analyze the situation or how many ways I could try to control or fix it, nothing I did would change what had happened. Their choice to go away didn't have to make me feel bad, but my attempts to control the situation were making me feel horrible. Let them. And just like that, the knot in my chest began to loosen. The pressure to fix the situation faded, and I realized something that changed everything. Their weekend away had nothing to do with me. It wasn't personal. They weren't plotting against me. They weren't making a statement about my worth. And even if they were, let them. What are what we're really trying to control? We all have moments where we try to control the world around us, especially when we feel hurt, left out, annoyed, or afraid. Maybe you found yourself trying to manage every detail of a group plan to make sure everyone is included. Or maybe you stressed out about whether people are upset with you when they don't respond to your messages right away. It's exhausting, isn't it? I'm a fixer by nature. I've spent most of my life believing that if I didn't step in, if I didn't manage the situation, things would fall apart. I had to be the one who kept everything together: relationships, work, friendships, even the emotions of people I love. And when something didn't go the way I expected, it felt like a reflection on me. If someone was upset, if something didn't work out, if I wasn't included, I automatically thought I had to fix it, change it, or control it. In talking to so many psychologists while researching this book, I learned that the urge to control things comes from a very primal place: fear. Fear of being excluded, fear of not being liked, of things falling apart if we're not steering the ship. And it shows up in all kinds of ways. We hover over our kids, making sure that they make right decisions. We try to influence our partner's habits, worrying that if we don't step in, they'll somehow get it wrong. We even impose our opinions on friends, believing that we know better than they do about how their lives should unfold. I've felt that fear a lot in my life. Fear that if I didn't make things happen, I'd be forgotten. Fear that I wouldn't be liked or accepted. Fear that without me at the helm, things would unravel. And let's be real: control gives us the illusion of safety. When we're in control, we believe that we can protect ourselves from pain, disappointment, and rejection. But it's just that, an illusion of safety. Because no matter how much we try to control people or situations, the truth is, we can't. People will do what they want to do. They will make their own choices and live their own lives. The fact is, none of that control actually makes you feel better. In fact, it's the opposite effect. Trying to control people and situations doesn't calm your fears, it amplifies them. Any psychologist will tell you, the more you try to control something you can't, the more anxious and stressed out you become. Sitting on that couch, staring at my phone, I realized I wasn't just trying to control what my friends might think of me. I was trying to control my own discomfort. I hated feeling rejected, so my immediate reaction was to fix the situation before I had to feel anything at all. That's when the let them theory started to click at a much deeper level for me. Let them, a tool to implement wisdom. The let them theory isn't just a mindset hack. It's rooted in the ancient philosophies and psychological concepts that have guided people for centuries. If you're familiar with Stoicism, Buddhism, detachment theory, or radical acceptance, you'll recognize that let them and let me applies these teachings and turns them into a practical everyday tool for improving your relationships and reclaiming your personal power. In Stoicism, the focus is on controlling your own thoughts and actions, not the thoughts or actions of others. This philosophy aligns perfectly with the let them, which is about consciously allowing others to make their own choices and live their lives without feeling the need to manage or influence their behavior. By practicing let them and let me, you're applying the core principles of Stoicism. Focus on yourself because that's where your true power lies. Buddhism and radical acceptance teaches suffering comes from resisting reality. The pain that we feel often stems from wishing things were different than they were. The let them theory helps you not only accept reality, but also separate yourself from the need to change it. You acknowledge that others' actions and choices are not yours to control, and in doing so, you reclaim your emotional freedom. That is radical acceptance in its most empowering form. Detachment theory teaches us how to emotionally distance ourselves from situations that trigger us. When you say let them, you're practicing emotional detachment. You create a mental gap between your emotions and the situation at hand, allowing yourself to observe what's happening without being consumed by it. The result? You remain calm, clear headed, and in control of your actions. Deport now. Where are we deporting to? True power lies in our response. While working on this book, I had the honor of sitting down with Martin Luther King III and Andrea Waters Andrea Waters King, global human rights advocates and co-authors of What is My Legacy? Realizing a New Dream of Connection, Love, and Fulfillment. I was appearing on their podcast, My Legacy, and we were talking about the let them theory when Martin said something that I wanted to share with you. He said that the let them theory represents a profound truth. Choosing peace is not weakness, it is power. This idea resonates deeply with Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s legacy and his father, Daddy King's vision of nonviolent action. Let them doesn't mean giving away control, it means reclaiming it. By choosing how we respond, by not feeding anger, hatred, or negativity, we exercise the ultimate power of ourselves. As Daddy King once said, in the face of unimaginable loss, I refuse to let hatred reduce me. This message is a call to recognize the strength that we hold in our response, one that can transform our families, communities, and even the world. And as I sat across from the Kings and listened to Martin and Andrea share this with me, I felt humble knowing that this theory is way bigger than you or me. It embodies an important truth about life. You always have power no matter what is happening around you. Martin then added, true power lies in our response. My father believed that nonviolence was not passive but the most courageous form of action, choosing peace when hatred tries to provoke. By refusing to react with bitterness, we reclaim our power and shape a better future. The word choosing matters. You reclaim your power by choosing how you respond. This theory is this theory is a tool that helps you do it. I've had a lot of people ask if the let them is the same as letting it go. It is not. Letting go feels like you've lost. You're surrendering to something beyond your control. Let them is the opposite. It's strength. When you say let them, you're not giving up or walking away. You're releasing that grip you have on how things should go and allowing them to unfold the way they will go. You're just freeing yourself. You're making an active, empowered choice to release control you never truly had. You stop giving power to other people and forces outside of you, and you reclaim it for yourself. When you say let them, you unleash your strength by focusing on your response. The beauty of let them and let me is that it helps you master these practices so you can start living a more peaceful and powerful intentional life. how this works in real life. Thank you all for hanging out. If you guys don't mind hitting that like button and tapping the little emojis while I'm reading, I'd appreciate that. Think about how this applies to different areas of your life. Let's say you're in a meeting at work and you've come up with an idea you're excited about. You've put thought into it. You know it has potential, but when you pitch it, the room goes quiet. People nod politely, but they move. Just a second, guys. This is an emergency. Just 1 second. Let me just pull it up on my computer real quick. Just a sec. Come on, computer. Oh, not even important. Ugh. You've put a lot of thought into it. You know it has potential, but when you pitch it, the room goes quiet. People nod politely, but they move on. And before you know it, someone else's idea is getting all the attention. You feel invisible. You start second guessing yourself, wondering if maybe you should have done it differently or tried harder to be heard. In that moment, you can either let this dismissal crush you, or you can pause and say, let them dismiss it. Let them go with a different idea. Their response doesn't change the value of your idea. It doesn't change your worth as a contributor. They might have gone with a different strategy, but that doesn't mean that yours wasn't a great idea. You're still the same person with the same talents and the ability to succeed. And the fact that you had an idea to pitch proves it. Good morning. Thank you for coming in, GTA. The same goes for dating. Maybe you've been texting someone and things felt like they were going somewhere, but then out of nowhere, they ghost you. No response, no explanation. It stings, doesn't it? You wonder what you did wrong, replaying every conversation, trying to figure out where it went off the rails. That temptation to text them again, to find some way to get closure. It's almost overwhelming. I've been there. But here's where let them comes in. Let them show you who they are. Let their disrespect doesn't say anything about you. How you respond does. Stop asking why they're doing this. The question is, why do you want to be with somebody who does this to you? You don't. Don't waste your energy chasing someone who's already left. Focus on what you can control. Processing your emotions and reminding yourself that you deserve someone who treats you with respect. In both of these situations, whether it's work, dating, or anything else, when you say let them, you are recognizing what's in your control and what isn't. Instead of spiraling, you are choosing to steady yourself and detach. As I said earlier, other people hold no real power over you unless you give them that power. And every time you say let them, you choose to take it back. Or take me and the situation on my couch. I wasn't even aware that my friends had gone away together. The second I saw the photos from their trip, though, I reacted. My emotions took over. I felt insecure. I felt left out. I felt less than. And then I took a step further and told myself that I had done something wrong, which only made me feel worse. The sad truth is, I did this to myself. My friends didn't do anything to me. They were just living their lives. And they're allowed to go away. They're allowed to plan a weekend with whomever they want. The way I reacted to their trip is what hurt me. This is so important to understand that I want to truly unpack this with you in detail. Let's use the visual of a seesaw on a playground to explain how the power dynamics between you and other people goes up and down, and how to use the let them theory when it happens. When someone does something, like planning something and not including you, you will react in either a positive or negative way. If you react negatively and have self-destructive thoughts or heavy emotions, it will weigh you down. Your reaction is what tips the scales and changes the dynamic between you and someone else. This graphic illustrates exactly how I felt when I saw that photo online. I won't be able to show you guys right now. I'll have to post a picture of this with it later. A, without let them. There's one person on the teeter-totter that feels inferior, jealous, insecure, left out, and less than. And then there's a pile of people on the other side of the teeter-totter. But the teeter-totter with one person with all the negative thoughts is the teeter-totter sitting down like this. What caused me to go down? I did. Anytime you internalize other people's thoughts, actions, and feelings as evidence, that's somehow you're a bad person or you've done something wrong. You just gave the other people power. And it shifts the dynamic and balance in the relationship. You feel beneath them. And that's exactly what happened when I told myself I had done something wrong. I felt inferior, jealous, insecure, left out, and less than. Those thoughts and emotions are really heavy thoughts. When you say let them, you free yourself from the weight of all the negativity that just made you sink. It's like pushing off the ground as a seesaw. Or it's like pushing off the ground on a seesaw. You go up and your friends on the other side go down. The power dynamic shifts. Welcome in, everybody. If you guys don't mind tapping that like button, I'd appreciate it. B, saying let them. You got superiority, detachment, false control, and judgment. And when you start doing that, the teeter-totter with the people on the other side, it tips the teeter-totter. It feels so good to rise above other people and the situations that bother you. That's why people love saying let them. Because when you're up, you know how feel this false sense of superiority and confidence. Or you now feel blah, 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 blah. Let me start that part again. That's why people love saying let them, because when you're up, you now feel this false sense of superiority and confidence. You push through those heavy emotions and rise up. This will automatically make you feel better than someone else. You will feel wiser and weirdly above it all, which is why it is easy to detach from the situation. And a little superiority can go a long way when you're in an emotional spiral. That temporary feeling of power over other people can help you move through the situation, accept what's happening, and process the frustrating or painful experiences in life. It helps to feel better than the friend who doesn't call you back, or the lazy roommate who doesn't do their dishes, or the rude customer you have to deal with at work. But then that moment of let them is over. Then you will think, well, now what? You'll be sitting up there looking down on other people, and you'll start to feel a little stranded in your superiority. And after I initially started saying let them, I didn't really know what to do either. Saying it and getting that jolt of superiority felt good, and detaching from the emotionals felt great. That was the easy part. But I didn't know what to do next. And here's the danger of only saying let them. If all you ever do is say let them, let them, let them, it will lead you to feel more isolated. It will make you want to withdraw and shut down. And that is exactly what the old me would have done with the situation on the couch. If I had just stopped at the let them part, I can imagine it now. I would have sat there in my superiority. I wouldn't have reached out. I would have gossiped about them behind their backs, sought out reassurances from my other friends, and felt very awkward every time I saw them. And these are women that I actually like and want to be friends with. I want you to stop and really think about a situation where you see friends of yours going out and doing things without you. When it happens, it hurts. It always hurts to be excluded. You want to be included on that golf trip. You want to be invited over to watch the game. You want to go away for the weekend. You would love to go out for drinks with your cool coworkers. You want to have great, fun friendships. And I want that for you too. So let me ask you a question. How exactly is feeling morally superior going to help you create those great friendships? It's not. Saying let them simply relieves you of the hurt and the pain that you feel, but for only moments. It feels so good to blame other people and feel better than others. But as your friend, I feel obligated to warn you that if all you do is say let them, you're going to find yourself without a lot of friends, without a lot of social plans, and confused as to why the theory isn't working in your favor. And that brings me to the major discovery that I made when I first started reaching the theory. Let them is just the first half of the equation. You can't stop there. There is a second critical part to the theory. Let me. You're tapping into that power by taking responsibility for what you do, think, or say next. Let me makes you realize that you are in control of what happens next and that life is more fun and fulfilling when you're not sitting alone in your superiority. Let me is the power move. That's why the theory only works if you say both parts. When you say let them, you make a conscious decision not to allow other people's behaviors to bother you. When you say let me, you take responsibility for what you do next. What I love about let me is that it immediately shows you what you can control. And there is so much that you can control: your attitude, your behavior, your values, your needs, your desires, and what you want to do in response to what just happened. It's the opposite of judgment. Let me is all about self awareness, compassion, empowerment, and personal responsibility. Oh, my nose. Your friend who went away, or your friends who went away, aren't better than you, and you aren't better than them. This is the crux of the let them theory. Let them and let me. The more you allow people to live in their lives, the better your life will get. The more control you give up, the more you gain. The let them theory is not about superiority at all. It's about balance. It's about making room for both you and someone else. It's about giving other people the space and the grace to live their lives, and then giving yourself the same. C, saying let me. And it makes the teeter-totter flat. Acceptance, understanding, compassion, responsibility, true control. For example, with my girls' weekend spiral, first I said let them, which helped me rise above the situation and the hurt. It helped me separate myself from the emotions I was feeling. And that is the first step, because getting emotional and blaming them or trashing them won't magically improve my friendships. The superiority gave me the mental space to really look at the situation from above. The more I said let them, the more space I had to consider my role in this situation and what I wanted to do about it. And when I stopped to look in the mirror, I saw a lot. I had been so busy working the past few years, I had barely seen my friends. I hadn't invited anyone to do anything in a long time. Maybe I wasn't excluded. Maybe they didn't think of me at all. And if I'm not making an effort reaching out or bumping into them around the neighborhood, why would they think of me? Plus, if I'm being perfectly honest, I've been so busy with my own life, work, and kids, unless I saw my old friends post online, I didn't think about them much either. No one owes me an invite. No one owes me a call. Yes, these things feel good. And yes, you deserve friends who reach out. But whose responsibility is it to create those friendships? And more importantly, let me be honest with myself. Have I been doing my part? When I stopped to ask myself that question, the answer was no. When you're an adult, your social life is your responsibility. If you want more fun, you should get off your butt. You should get your butt off the couch and create a great social life. Talking to myself here too. Let me stop expecting other people to always include me. Let me take responsibility for what I want in life. Let me figure out the deeper issue that I need to look at. You're welcome. Let me be more productive about reaching out to people. Let me invite people to do something this weekend. Let me throw a party for once. Let me develop better boundaries with work so I have time for friendship. Let me prioritize my social life because clearly it matters to me and it is my responsibility to create one. Let me reach out to a few of these women to reconnect, not in a passive way, not to smooth things over, and not to get an invite to their next getaway, but because once I said let them and let me and rise above my emotions, I connect with the deeper truth that I actually really miss a few of these women. And seeing that post online made me realize that I work way too much and I want to make an effort to rekindle my friendships with them and a few other people now that I'm thinking about it. Before we dive in, two warnings. As I researched this book, two important questions came up repeatedly for people who were applying the let them theory, and I want to address them now before we dive deeper into the rest of the book. First, does the let them theory apply to children? Yes, you can absolutely use the let them theory with kids, with some very important caveats. But this book is specifically focused on how you apply the theory in adult relationships. Throughout the book, I make clear distinctions between adults and children to avoid any confusion. But as a parent, I will admit there are times my kids drive me crazy. When I lose my cool, I make bad choices as a parent. So the let them theory has been very helpful in teaching me how to stay calm, confident, and grounded when situations with my kids feel overwhelming. Every time I say let them, I am acknowledging that my kids are capable and stronger than I think. The let me part reminds me that my job is in supporting, listening, guiding, and not controlling. That said, I am still the parent. So there is a balance between trusting, letting them, and providing the support that they need and stepping in when necessary. So, in order to help you use the theory to strengthen your bond with your kids, teens, and young adults, and hopefully keep your sanity intact, I've created a special guide in the appendix at the end of the book that breaks down parenting and the let them theory in detail. In other words, when to use the let them theory and when to step in and take charge. This is so important that I wanted to get it right. So I reached out to Dr. Stuart Ablon to help me create this short guide to using the let them theory as a parent, coach, caregiver, teacher, or grandparent. Dr. Ablon is award-winning psychologist who runs the Think Kids program at Massachusetts General Hospital. He's also a professor of child and adolescent psychiatry at Harvard Medical School and a leading expert on behavior change. You can trust his insights because they are based on his 30 years of research and clinical experience. Second, what if using let them makes you feel lonely? This is a crucial point. Some people have shared that they feel lonely after using the let them theory. If you're feeling this way, it's a sign that you're applying the theory incorrectly. The let them theory has two essential steps: let them and let me. These steps must go hand in hand. You cannot simply say, let them, and stop there. Many people forget the second step, let me. And this is a major mistake because let me is where your real power lies. It is in let me that you take responsibility for your next move, for creating the life, relationships, and connection that you want. Without this step, you'll find yourself disconnection. Without this step, you'll find yourself disconnected rather than empowered. As your friend, I feel obligated to warn you that if all you do is say, let them, you're going to find yourself without a lot of friends. Oh, for the love of God. Just a second, guys. Okay. Sorry, guys, just a second. Just one quick second. I got to do something. Okay, hopefully that will fix that. Good fucking Lord. Where was I? As your friend, I feel obligated to warn you that if all you do is say, let them, you're going to find yourself without a lot of friends, without a lot of social plans, and confused as to why the theory isn't working in your favor. It feels good to say, let them, because we like to blame other people. And as we've discussed, a jolt of superiority can help you when you feel down. However, that is not the purpose of the theory. Let them is not an excuse to stop answering your phone, to shrug your shoulders, to refuse to talk it out with a friend or a family member who is hurt, to stay in a situation that hurts you, or to ignore discrimination or dangerous behavior. It is not a license to give someone the silent treatment, ghost people, avoid hard conversations, or withdraw from your friendships. Hi, Ben. It's not supposed to leave you feeling alone and invisible, but rather more connected and more fulfilled in every single one of your relationships. If you find that you're using the theory and it is making you lonelier, please hear this. You are using it wrong. The theory is here to make your life better, not worse. So I am reminding you to always remember to say, let me, because that is the part that will change your life. Using the let them theory, I saw how often I blamed someone else for the fact that I was alone sitting in my couch, or not making the money that I wanted to make, or how often I said yes due to guilt, or the decisions I made because I didn't want to disappoint someone else, or how often I used the excuse of being too tired to make my health or fun a priority. When you're an adult, your life, happiness, health, healing, social life, friendships, boundaries, needs, and success are all your responsibility. If you've been secretly hoping someone else would come and rescue you, fix your problems, pay your bills, create a social life, heal your wounds, change into your dream partner, and motivate you to be your best, it's not going to happen. No one is coming. And anytime that you spend blaming other people or waiting for permission or an invitation is wasted. Those days are over. It is time to take full responsibility for your happiness, your dreams, and your life. After all, responsibility is simply the ability to respond. And as you've just learned, true power lies in your response. You are capable of creating anything that you want if you are willing to put in the time and energy into working for it. Your let me era is here, and that means you must stop wasting your time and energy on petty, shallow, and insignificant things. And it also means that you have to stop trying to control the one thing that you can't: other people. In the next section of the book, we are diving into 4 core areas of your life where the let them theory will create the biggest and most immediate positive impact. You'll learn how to stop allowing other people's behaviors, opinions, reactions, and success to affect your happiness and stand in the way of what you want. And there is no faster way to get started and to feel the power of the let them than using it to manage stress and protect your peace. So let's jump in. You and the let them theory. Managing stress, fearing other people's opinions, dealing with someone else's emotional reactions, and overcoming chronic comparison. The more you let other people live their lives, the better your life gets. Mel Robbins. Managing stress. Shocker. Life is stressful. Just a sec. I need to put some chapstick on my lips. How's everybody doing this morning? Sorry guys, just got a phone call. Oh, what a day, 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 what a day. Good, you're good, you're good. I'm going to take a quick puff real quick. Take a quick little break. I'll let you know when to come back in a minute or when to fast forward. It drives me nuts when people don't text. When people want to call. I hate people who blow up my phone with calls when you can simply just text, hey, I haven't forgotten about you. I still got your smokes. I'm live right now. What part of this don't you understand? And then he proceeds to ask me another fucking question. Last I checked, I look like beans, not Google. Any Hoosers. You don't pay me enough to be your secretary. Okay. Is my connection shitty? Might have been from my phone call. Am we better now? Okay. Oh, my Lanta. Aaron, are you still here? I think Aaron and Ben left. It says there's only one person in here right now. All right. It's me. I'm the one. What do you mean it's me? I'm the one. You keep saying that. What is that about? Okay, chapter 3 is going to be at 49 minutes and 0 seconds. Ooh. Nope. Chapter 3, shocker, life is stressful. Oh, okay. The fastest, most effective way to start using the let them theory is to rise above the countless tiny stressors you face every day. You know the ones I'm talking about. The never-ending notifications on your phone, the slow internet connections, the unexpected changes in plans, the endless meetings at work, the inconsiderate behaviors of other people, the long lines, the slow walkers. These small annoyances may seem insignificant, but they aren't. I get that people can be annoying. And yes, you have a lot on your plate. Modern life can feel like death by 1,000 cuts, one thing after another that slowly drains your energy and stresses you out. It's not only easy to let it get to you, it's dumb. You can't control how other adults behave, and stressing about it diminishes your power. You'll never reach the full potential of your life if you continue to allow stupid things or rude people to drain your life force. Your time and energy are your most valuable resources, and in the next few chapters, you'll learn how to use them. You'll learn how to use the let them theory to protect yourself from the unnecessary stress other people are currently causing in your life. Just stop and ask yourself, Why do you have to let a long line at the coffee shop ruin your day? Why is traffic putting you in a bad mood? Why do you feel overwhelmed when someone interrupts you during an important task? Why does the person talking loudly on the phone in public irritate you? Why does a family member why does a family member's unsolicited advice feel like a personal attack? Why does someone else's slow pace in a busy walkway make you feel rushed? It happens to me too. Just the other day, I went to my favorite garden center to pick up some plants. There, the cashier was moving so slowly. There were only 2 lanes open and about 5 people waiting in each. Beep, beep, beep. I felt myself starting to get agitated. I had a meeting I had to get back to. Had to get back. At, I had a meeting I had to get back home. I wanted to turn to the person behind me and shake my head and say, "Can you believe this?" But I hesitated. I said, "Let them," to myself instead. The effect was immediate. I softened. Did it speed up the cashier? Nope. It did something better. It protected me from this habit of letting little things become big stressors in my day-to-day life. The 10 extra minutes that this line was going to take wouldn't negatively impact the rest of my day, but allowing myself to get agitated and annoyed about something I couldn't control absolutely would. Why get stressed out about things beyond your control or that don't really matter? How does something so small have such a large impact on you? When you let the world around you impact your emotional state and peace of mind, you become a prisoner to these external forces. You're letting trivial nonsense dictate your mood, drain your motivation, and steal your focus. There's this famous quote about life from Greek philosopher I can't say this guy's name, Epictetus. It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. What does that mean? It means that your personal power is in how you react. Learning how to respond differently to the annoying and stressful situations every day will change your life. Right now, you're giving away all your power because you're wasting your time and energy on things that don't matter, or you're burning up over things that are beyond your control. You have no idea how big of a problem this is. I didn't either. The reason it is hard to manage your stress is that your reaction to what is happening around you is automatic and you feel your entire body go on edge. It's like you just get swept up in the emotion, and then the next thing you know, you send the text you regret, or you say things in the heat of the moment that you don't really mean, or you stand there in a really long line of people and anger and annoyance just build and build even though you wish they wouldn't. These are all examples of how your reaction to stressful and irritating situations can become a big problem in your day-to-day life. You can't control what is happening around you, but you can control how you respond to it. Nowhere is this more evident than at an airport. In fact, if you want to feel stressed, just go to one of those. The airport stress test. From the check-in to security, from the check-in to security lines to people losing their minds over weather delays, missing baggage, people crowding the gates before they even start the boarding process, tight connections, getting rerouted, all of the overhead space taken by the time you board, long lines at the rental car counter, the number of things that could stress you out are endless. But let's use this fact as an example to help you understand what you can control and what you can't control. Remember the fundamental law of human nature. You can't control what other people say, think, or do. Anytime you try to, you lose your power. You must learn to focus on what you say, think, or do. That's how you remain in control. Because no matter what is happening on the plane or at the airport, you still hold the power. A few months ago, I was on a plane, and the guy right behind me was coughing as if it were his last day on earth. You know, that deep chest hack that is bound to get everyone around them sick? I didn't think anything of it for the first few minutes, but when it continued on, and then he started clearing his throat and kept coughing, I started to get annoyed. I was flying to an event where I had to give a speech, and over the next couple weeks, I was speaking at a number of big events. I could not afford to get sick and lose my voice. I turned around to look through the crack between the seats and saw him just opened mouth coughing into the air as if no one else was on this plane. I thought, is this guy really going to get me sick? It's so selfish and rude of him. I can't get sick. I considered my options. Being passive aggressive wasn't going to solve anything. As much as I kept huffing and puffing in my seat and glaring at him between the cracks, trying to make evil eye contact, he was either not picking up my clues or he didn't care. I considered flagging over a flight attendant and complaining, but he was sitting right there, so he'd hear me. He would hear me, which would feel really weird. So I decided to turn around like a mature adult and ask him politely, "Sir, could you please cover your mouth?" There was an awkward pause. He nodded and then proceeded to cough openly for the rest of the plane ride. I know this because I kept turning around and looking through the cracks between the seat. Obviously, you feel bad for the guy. It's not like he wants to be sick. When you have to cough, you have to cough. But in the heat of the moment, I was getting more and more annoyed. I was not only stressed out, but it was now ruining my mood and making it impossible to try and get some work done. This is just one example of how something happening around you can easily stress you out and negatively impact your body and hijack your brain. Your brain on stress. One of the experts that I interviewed while researching this book is Dr. Aditi Nerurkar, a physician at Harvard Medical School and author of The 5 Resets: Rewire Your Brain and Body for Less Stress and More Resilience. Dr. Aditi was the medical director of Harvard's Beth Israel Deaconess Hospital Integrative Medicine Program, where she developed an enormous clinical practice in stress management using evidence-based integrative approaches to help her patients feel better. Dr. Aditi says stress is a much bigger problem in your life than you realize. According to Dr. Aditi, stress causes you to doubt yourself, procrastinate, burn out, doom scroll, and struggle with comparison. If you're having trouble focusing, feeling happy, taking care of yourself, the reason is stress. She also told me that if your inner critic is louder than ever, you're struggling with procrastination, you're constantly tired, you can't stop scrolling on your phone, or you have trouble disconnecting from work, it's all due to stress. Dr. Aditi explained to me that stress is way bigger than just the tension you feel in your body. Stress is a physiological state in your brain. This is important to understand. Psychological, maybe not physiological. Physiological. Yes, physiological. Stress is a physiological state in your brain. This is important to understand because stress actively hijacks the functioning of your brain. As Dr. Aditi explained it, normally your prefrontal cortex is in control. This part of your brain helps you run your day-to-day life. It helps you plan, organize, remember things, and guide your decision making. To become the best version of yourself, you need to leverage this part of your brain. The problem is that the second you feel stressed by the guy coughing on the plane, that line is taking too long, or the test results you're waiting on, your brain goes into stress response, and that prefrontal cortex that is so important is no longer in control, and neither are you. Your stress response is located in another part of your brain called the amygdala. Dr. Aditi described the amygdala as a small almond-shaped structure deep in your brain, located in between your ears. It is one of the oldest structures of the human brain, and many refer to it as the reptilian brain, and it houses your stress response. If you've ever heard someone refer to the fight, flight, or freeze response, that's the exact same thing as your stress response, meaning that when you are stressed, your amygdala is in control. This can cause rash decision-making and more impulsive behaviors. When life is normal and you're feeling good, your prefrontal cortex is the one driving most of your actions. This means that you can logically think through the pros and cons of situations and make well thought out decisions. In other words, you can choose how you are going to respond. But whether something happens that makes you feel stressed, this is where you and I get in trouble because the response in our bodies and brains is automatic. Your amygdala takes over automatically, and this part of your brain has one job: survival and self-preservation. Your brain and your body kick into fight or flight and are only designed to work in stressed out state for short periods of time. You are supposed to reset back to normal functioning, where your prefrontal cortex is in control and you feel calm and confident again. But what happens when you don't reset? The reason: you are exhausted all the time. According to Dr. Aditi, 7 out of 10 people are currently living in chronic state of stress. I used to be one of them. When you live in a state of chronic stress, you are locked in a constant state of fight or flight. Your amygdala is humming in the background, always on. Dr. Aditi told me that when you are stressed, you not only feel like you're in survival mode, but from a neurological standpoint, your brain actually is in survival mode. Your goals, your dreams, your best self, your ability to be patient and non-reactive, it all goes right out the window. which is why you must solve this problem and stop allowing other people to create unnecessary stress in your life. There's too much at stake. You deserve to live a good life. But you'll never be able to if you're always in survival mode. You'll never get that project done this weekend if you keep procrastinating because of stress. You need to have more fun, but you won't allow yourself to have it if you can't disconnect from work. You should be more present and connected to your spouse, but you'll never be there. You never will be if you're constantly doom scrolling. The life you've always wanted is right in front of you, but you will never reach for it if your inner critic is constantly telling you not to. Stress is a major problem, and it is time you deal with it. Hacking your stress response. So I asked Dr. Aditi how we reset our brains back to normal functioning. She said the first step is to understand what stress actually is so that you know you have the power in those situations. For me, it was a revelation to learn that stress is your body and brain switching between two functions. It's empowering to know that I can switch back to normal functioning and that it's not hard to do using the let them theory. How cool is it that you don't have to live your life feeling like everything happening around you has to stress you out? How amazing is it that other people's behaviors doesn't have to be a huge problem in your life? Next you're going to use the let them theory to reset your stress response. Think of it as an on and off switch, a little lever that you can pull inside of your brain whenever something happens that stresses you out. The moment you say let them, you are signaling to your brain that it's okay. This isn't worth stressing about. You're telling your amygdala to turn off. You are resetting that stress response by detaching from the negative emotions that you feel. Here's how you do it. The moment anything happens that stresses you out, say let them. Put yourself in pause. Say let me and take a breath. Let me and take another breath. Slow your stress response. Calm your body and brain down. Take control and regain your power. This seems so insignificant, but this one change will turn you into a different person. Catching your stress response using let them and let me empowers you to choose what you say, think, or do instead of allowing your emotions to hijack your response. No more rage texts or snapping at your loved ones or wasting hours crafting an email at work. The fact is, not every email warrants a response, and not every conversation needs your participation, and you do not always have to have the last word. And as the famous saying goes, your silence can't be misquoted. You'll start to see that a lot of what used to set you off isn't worth your time and energy, and the less you react to the things around you using let me, the more in control you feel. Dr. Aditi said that taking deep breaths has been significantly proven to help lower your stress response. Breathing in fully, feeling the air expand your belly, stimulates the vagus nerve, which sends a message directly to your brain that says, we can calm down. By saying let me and resetting your stress response, you are now back in control and can choose how to intentionally respond. Own your reactions. Take your power back. On that note, let's go back to me on the plane with the guy who is coughing behind me. I am getting more and more stressed, and I can't focus on the work I need to get done. And I feel like a caged animal sitting there strapped to my seat. So how do you use the let them theory to get someone to stop coughing? You don't. You have to let them cough. Let them. I know. Hear me out. Yes, it was stressing me out. Yes, I thought he was rude for not covering his mouth. And yes, I was worried about getting sick. But let's come back to control. What could I control in the situation? I couldn't control whether or not another person was coughing. I could only control how I responded to the coughing. Focusing on what you can't control makes you stressed. Focusing on what you can control makes you powerful. And that brings me to another important point. Who is responsible for me not getting sick? Me or this stranger on the plane? Me. I'm responsible for my health. It's not this guy's responsibility to stop coughing because I want him to. It's my responsibility to respond in a way that takes care of my needs. And I know what you're thinking. Shouldn't everybody just cover their mouths? Shouldn't everybody wash their hands? Shouldn't everybody follow basic guidelines of decency? Well, of course they should, but a lot of people don't. My point is, trying to manage someone else or a situation that is beyond your control is only going to cause you more stress. I could get mad. I could keep turning around. I could yell at the flight attendant. I could get frustrated and yell at the guy, but to what end? Isn't there a more obvious and powerful solution right in front of my face? I am offering you a pragmatic and strategic approach to life. Instead of getting enraged in my seat, I just let him cough. And then I let me focus on the simple actions that I could take in order to protect myself. I'm going to cover my nose with my mouth, I'm going to cover my nose with my mouth. Beans. I'm going to cover my nose and my mouth with my scarf, I thought. And I'm going to put my headphones on to drown out the coughing. And that's what I did. And with my scarf over my nose and my mouth, I turned up my music and my headphones. Problem solved. Every time you say let them, you acknowledge that you can't control the situation that is stressing you out. When you say let me, you are following Dr. Aditi's advice and focusing on what you can control, which is your response to these stressful situations. Dr. Aditi confirmed the let them theory is like a sigh of relief for your stressed brain. It helps you reclaim control over your anxious thoughts so that your brain and body can finally get out of survival mode and back to thriving. Let me explain why this matters. If you allow yourself to get completely stressed out, you are giving all your power to other people. In the past, I would have allowed this guy to stress me out. I would have gotten zero work done, been exhausted by the time the plane landed, and then called my husband to complain about this idiot who ruined my entire flight. I probably would have told the story over dinner that night with the clients who had hired me to speak at the event. I would have gone on and on about how infuriating this situation was for me, all of which would have left me feeling even more stressed out, more worked up, and more drained. I am explaining this in detail because I want you to see what a problem is. When you let other people stress you out, you surrender your power to things that either don't matter or are beyond your control, and it often spirals into other areas of your life for hours, weeks, or even years. And if you want to achieve your goals, be more present, feel more confident, and be happier, you must stop allowing other people to stress you out. In life, there will be things that you can control and things that you can't. There will be situations that are fair and situations that are not. You get to decide what stresses you out and for how long. What Dr. Aditi's research proves is that learning to protect your energy will improve your mood, mindset, health, focus, and ability to disconnect and unplug. I believe this is one of the reasons why so many people get the words "let them" tattooed on their body within days of learning about the theory. It serves as a reminder that your peace is worth protecting. There is a certain kind of confidence that comes with knowing that other people can't disrupt your peace. But let's take it up a notch. A stranger coughing on a plane is a pretty straightforward situation. You will eventually get off the plane and move on with your life. So it's easy to use the let them theory. Easy to use the let them theory then. But what about when it's not clear what you should do or what the right response is? How do you use the theory when your stress is coming from something much bigger, like your job? We're going to leave it there at 111. Oh, look at that. I will come back either later tonight or tomorrow to start on chapter 4. It's called Let Them Stress You Out. I'd like to thank you for hanging out and listening. I appreciate you all. I'm proud of you for taking this new journey in your life and making the changes that needs to be changed so that you're not stressed out anymore and you have the power in your life and you're not giving it away. Stay amazing, stay awesome, and remember always to keep it real.